President-elect Trump's relationship with the media has been tense since virtually the beginning of his campaign. The latest chapter in the saga focuses on a new question. Will the president-elect boot the press corps from the White House once he takes office? Administration officials say they're kicking around the idea of moving the media from the briefing room to another location on the White House campus to accommodate more people. But a recent Esquire report quoted a senior Trump official saying, "They are the opposition party. I want them out of the building. We are taking back the press room." CBS News Chief White House correspondent Major Garrett covers the White House each day. He joins us now from the Washington bureau. So, Major, I want to break this down for people who may not quite understand really what the ramifications of this could be potentially. It might seem like inside baseball here. Give us the big picture. Why is this potentially so significant?
Well, before I get to the significance, Elaine, let me do one thing, because I have a Twitter feed. I've got a lot of followers, and I keep somewhat of an eye on it. And I know there are a certain number of people who follow me. A lot of them are Trump supporters who believe the White House press corps has lost its legitimacy. It is no longer, from their point of view, an aggressive, journalistic set of people who hold any White House accountable. They would say that has been especially true from their point of view, again, about the Obama administration. And one thing is true in all of this, Elaine, perception to a certain degree is reality. And there are those who believe network media, large newspaper reporters aren't as good or as aggressive as they ought to be or that they once were. If that perception exists, then the media has to take some responsibility for it. And I do my job as best I can, but I'm aware of that criticism. I see it frequently. And that's part of this overall conversation, because for those who supported now President-elect Trump, soon to be President Trump, they believe part of his candidacy represented a pushing back against that entire media problem. And they expect him to do something different in regards to this entrenched media complex in Washington, as they expect him to push back against many of the entrenched interests in Washington. And I guarantee you, Elaine, when I read my Twitter feed, some of these Trump supporters and some people who are critics of the media generally believe the Washington press corps is as entrenched as maybe lobbyists are, or other special interest groups, or lawmakers who've been around from their point of view for too long. So this is all part of one large conversation among a good number of Trump supporters about what's wrong with Washington. And those of us who are in the news media can't enter that conversation or prize that debate without understanding we're part of what some people who support President-elect Trump believe is part of the problem. Now, let's go to the ramifications. Look, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that there's no way I can cover a Trump administration or any presidential administration unless I'm right there in the building. It's helpful. Proximity counts. You get to see who's coming in and out of the West Wing. That's instructive. But a lot of the work you do is on the phone. You report successfully any administration from the outside in, not the inside out. You don't wait for the tweet or the press release or the briefing. You gather information from the outside, all sorts of people who are watching what a White House does. Then you take that gathered information and you bring it into the building and ask hard questions and try to hold any administration to account for whatever it says publicly or whatever it's represented about itself. That's how you do this job. Is it easier to do it from inside the gate of the White House? Absolutely. Would it be impossible if the White House press corps were relocated somewhere else? No. Just be a little bit more challenging from a logistics point of view. But I'll make this offer to the president-elect. You can move my office to Gaithersburg, Maryland if you want to. All I ask is one thing: one press conference every week. I see you and I get a chance, and all my colleagues, all who are interested in covering this White House, can come in and ask you a question once a week. I don't care where I work, as long as there's access to you on a regular basis, meaning a press conference every week, and anytime you have a foreign leader in, you have a cabinet meeting, you take questions on a daily basis from those reporters, whomever you call on, who cover the White House on a daily basis. That's the crucial aspect of covering the presidency: access to the decision maker who matters most. And in 4 days, that's going to be Donald Trump. So move my office anywhere you want, Mr. President-elect. Just let me talk to you and let my reporter colleagues talk to you on a regular basis.
Access on behalf of the American people. Major
Precisely.
Garrett in Washington.
That's the whole deal.
Major, thank you so much.
Sure.